Everybody, we're here for the first edition of Lunch with Mike, aka me, aka also the other Mike who is eating lunch, who you'll see in a minute. So we're here to do a little lesson on white balance. We did a quick story yesterday, basically saying that we're going to teach you sort of the basics of white balance. So sort of like what is white balance? It's essentially the color temperature of your image. So it's how your image is going to look. You'll think of numbers from 32K, 3200K, 5600K. And we're going to break down the basics here of different white balances, what they look like, and when to use those certain ones. So we're going to go into this camera here. So you'll see here we are at 4500K for white balance, which is about the proper temperature for this room. Typically with our lights on, they're off today. But to give you a quick breakdown, your typical tungsten lights are going to be anywhere from 2500 to 3500. So when you go to like a banquet hall, that's your range. I typically work with ranges of white balance. An indoor venue, ballroom, venue space is going to be anywhere from 25 to 3, maybe up to 35, 36. And then 36 is really where you start to get into your fluorescent. So 3600 up to 45. Some people say 4 to 5, but 5 is really getting you really close to daylight. And then just like I said, daylight is going to be anywhere from 5 to 6. So 5,000 to 6,000, typically right in the 5600K range. And then cloudy, is 6,000K. And then when you start getting into like shade on a sunny day, that's going to be anywhere from 7 to 8,000K. And then when you go cloudy shade sort of is closer to like 9,000K. So anyway, back into the camera here. So you'll see here, 4,500. There's Mike. 4,500 looks pretty appropriate here. Let's see, I'll show you. So if we go in here and we change this and we go up to, let's see, 65. You see everything's looking really yellow, these walls. These walls are basically white and they're looking really yellow. That's not the proper white balance. And on the flip side, if we bring that down 34, you'll see everything's very, very blue. Again, not the right white balance. So in here is going to be right around 45. And there's Max, he was on a call. So that's really the proper white balance is there. So again, like when you walk into like a ballroom, you're going to be anywhere from 25 to 35. Outdoor spaces, anywhere from 5 to really 9, depending on if it's cloudy, are you in the shade, is it direct sun, stuff like that. All right, so now I think we're going to go to Mike, right? Let's do it. Hey, Mike. Hey. So Mike's over here enjoying his lunch. Okay. We're at 5,600K over here. If we bring that down, see he's getting really blue. This is 4,000. 4,000 is no good here. And like I said, on the flip side, if we go to 6, he's got a really nice tan here. He's a little bit orange. 62, we're getting warmer. So you see the different colors, it really makes a difference. How's the sandwich?
Fire, thank you.
Good. So that's Mike, that's the white balance there. Now, I'm just going to share a quick description of why white balance is important for photo and for video, and sort of what are the repercussions of not getting it right. So to be completely honest, if you're shooting raw photo, for example, when I go to shoot a wedding and I'm shooting photos, I'm really not super concerned with my white balance. But that's only because I'm shooting in RAW and I can completely change the white balance and get it to the exact temperature I want once I bring it into Adobe Lightroom and start editing it. I try to get it as close as possible so I know what the image is going to look like while I'm shooting, but I'm not super concerned with nailing it exactly. But if you're shooting JPEG or you're just starting out and you're not shooting raw photos, you really want to do your best to be as close as possible to that exact temperature, because when you start to change the color temperature in your white balance in post with not a raw image, you get some distortion, the colors don't look as good. And that's really what happens with video. Video, there's not too much to do in post once you screw up the white balance. So getting your white balance in camera correctly for video is very important, because if you're, too yellow in a room that you need to be more blue, once you get into post and you start manipulating that color, it's not like a raw image. It's going to get distorted and the colors just aren't going to look right. So getting that white balance in camera is very important for video. If you're shooting raw photo, not super important, but do your best so that you know exactly what this image is going to look like. That's really the basics of white balance. Do we have any questions in there? No? Cool. So I hope this was helpful, guys. Again, 3200K, when I'm going out to different environments now, over the years I've just sort of really learned the different color temps that I'm going to need. So when I'm outside on a regular sunny day, I know that I can at least start around 5600K, because that's going to get me a very balanced image. If I'm in like an indoor ballroom, I know I'm going to be anywhere from 3000 to 35. And if it's really yellow lighting, I know I'm going to be dropping it a little bit to maybe 2600K. And just a fun fact, a lot of cameras nowadays don't even let you go below 25 or above, I think it's 9900K. And that's where you have to fix those images in post, or that video in post. But 2500K is going to be your lowest you can go usually. And then fluorescent lighting, like I said, is going to be in that 4 to 4500K range. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. If you have any questions, leave them here in the comments. We'd be happy to answer those for you. But hope you found this useful, and we'll catch you on the next time with Lunch with Mike.